Today we're in Chapter 4, Lesson 1, and it's going to be talking about demand. In a market economy, people and firms act on their own in their best interest to answer the basic questions of what, how, and for whom to produce. Demand is central to the process, so understanding the concept of demand is essential if we are to understand how this economy works. So I want you to think about it. How does demand help societies determine what, how, and for whom to produce? In class, we're going to do a little bit of activity with candy, a little bit of rock, paper, scissors to demonstrate some of this. So demand is the various amounts of products that someone is willing and able to buy over a range of possible prices at one point in time. There are two different variables whenever you're dealing with demand. The one side is the price, and on the bottom is the demand quantity available. All right. So we know we have limitations because they're scarce resources. So there is a demand quantity that we're able to buy based off of the price. It would go back to, if we produced chocolate and chocolate was a penny, how many people would buy chocolate? That'd be a lot of people, right? But the business itself, would it be really worth it to create chocolate for a penny when you could sell it for $1 or $2? So this is where demand comes into play. The law of demand is a rule that's stating that more will be demanded at lower prices and less at higher prices. It's an inverse relationship. An inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So again, if it's expensive, less people are going to buy it. Think of like designer purses or designer wallets. If they're super expensive, it's going to become less people are going to be able to afford it. But if it's something smaller or cheaper, more people are going to be able to buy it. Now, this is going to be a generic example of what we're going to look at through this lesson, the demand schedule. And what you do is you create the schedule first before you could chart it or create the model or graph about that. So at each price, how much quantity would you be willing to sell? So if today I stood in front of you and said, here's a bottle of water, I'm going to sell it for $1. You might be able to put that in there. So let's say for $1, and everybody in the class might want to. So we'll put 30 people here. If I want to charge $2, maybe some people will say that's a little too expensive for me, and we'll go down to 25 people. If I say I'm going to charge $4, maybe only 3 people want to buy it. And if I say $7, maybe only a person would buy it, just because they're crazy. All right. So this demand schedule is what we're looking at when we look at any type of item. We could create this type of schedule. After that, what would happen is in the next level, you would come up with a demand curve. And here you would be able to put your prices on the side and then the quantity demanded at every level around the bottom. And this would be creating your actual demand curve. I know it's a line, but typically it's going to have this type of slope. So here's an example of here having a demand schedule set up. Click on the rows where look at the rows. How does this price affect the quantity demanded? So the price here of any item, all right, this one's saying price of burritos. If it's $10, there will be 0 interested. At $9, there's 0 interested in or demanded. At $6, you would be able to put 1 right here. Let's see if it's going to work for me. So at $6, we would be able to put 1. Okay. Then at $4, we would be able to have 2. Sorry, the computer's going a little slow right now. So at $4, I'll be able to put 2 demanded. Okay. Paste that. Okay, at $3, right here, $3, I would be able to. There would be a demand of 3 burritos. You get the point. It's not working for me right now. But what we're doing was we're creating the whole idea of a demand curve that we would go through based off of that schedule of that demand, as I'm screwing everything up right now. So what affects demand besides prices? You have these things that are called incentives. And incentives are a motivating influence that cause people to act. If you have more money coming in the mail, a bigger paycheck, maybe it's just something that you're dreaming of, or you're at a time of year, there's an incentive for you to go and buy things. So you buy things because they want to create utility. And utility is basically the use that you get from an idea. Marginal utility is going to be the thing that we're to look at here in this next section. So marginal utility is the extra usefulness or additional satisfaction a person gets from acquiring or using one or more unit of a product. And the best way that I can explain this is, if you have $1, you're happy. You get $2, you're happier. $3, you're even happier. As you go through, even think of chocolate bars. You have 1 chocolate bar, you're happy. 2 chocolate bars, you're happy. 3 chocolate bars, you're going to have a stomach ache. So marginal utility is what we add whenever we're adding more or additional information or satisfaction. On the opposite end is the idea of diminishing marginal utility. So every time we have a piece of pizza, for instance, we're very happy. But when we start eating more and more and more pizza, you start to lose, or you have some diminishing utility. It means that extra satisfaction we get from the additional quantities begins to decline, meaning that after we have a full pizza, we're probably a little bit over full at that point. So unless you're me and then you really like lots of pizza, but it takes me a while and eventually I will diminish my utility as well.